Back in 1993, Charles Barkley made a Nike commercial stating that he wasn't a role model. He would go on to say that his job, which he was paid for, was to create havoc on the basketball court, and that your parents are your role models. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is your boy James, and this is a dad's thing. If you are a first-time visitor, thank you for stopping by. If you are a friend of the family, I thank you for your support and joining me again tonight. This is vlog 14. I'm working my way up to 50 vlogs consecutively up until my 50th birthday. So as I opened, I said that back in 1993, Charles Barkley made this commercial, and what at the time seemed to be controversial, an athlete stating that he was not a role model. Now we know kids will watch athletics and other entertainers and have aspirations of one day possibly growing up to do what they do. But just in general, looking at these individuals as folks that have reached the highest pinnacles in their careers, and we or they as youngsters looking at them and aspiring to do something similar. I personally remember that commercial by Charles Barkley, and I gotta say, so in '93 I purchased the edition that was out, and in '94 I purchased the edition that came out as a basketball player. That's one of the things I did, and not that Charles Barkley was my favorite player in the world, or I wanted to be like Charles. Just happened to like his shoes and I bought them. But as I was saying, you know, with this role model thing, that statement really had some conversations in the locker room when we were younger. And for me, I never really looked at any athlete or any entertainer as someone that I wanted to be like. Yes, I had my favorites, and in all fairness, Allen Iverson was my favorite player. But anyway, you know, back to this role model thing and why, you know, I'm bringing that up today is because back then, as a junior in high school, I really felt what Charles Barkley was saying. Athletes shouldn't be young folks' role models, but that role model should come from the home. And I know that there's a little bit of a conflict there because athletes are in the spotlight. They're in, you know, the eyes of a lot of people. So it's really easy to look at them and say, hey, that's the standard. That's who I want to be. And, you know, fair enough. It is what it is. And regardless of what Charles had to say at that point in time, it's still not going to stop the fact that there are kids out there that are going to look up to him, want to be like him, and think that they can do the things that he did or was doing. That's just how it's going to be. But for me, I took it to heart, and not so much as it necessarily having to be my parents being my role model, although definitely laid foundation, you know, in my life, set the course for who I would be, you know, in the future years and even till this day. But I did agree with Charles that the role model should come from a circle of individuals that has influence on a young person, and more so how I like to say is that I can touch that individual. For me, that was my oldest brother. My oldest brother was my role model. I wanted to be like my big brother, whether it was playing basketball or any of the other things that he did. He was an individual that I could physically touch, that I could talk to, that we could have conversations with, and that he could help build me up and really, you know, be that standard that I was looking at because we were in very close proximity. So that's how I looked at what a role model is. And today, one of the reasons why, I bring this up is because there's a lot of stuff going on, whether it be social media, with influencers, again, with athletes, with other entertainers. It could be a large variety of people. It can be folks in other arenas as well, politics, and so on and so forth. And they have the attention of our young folks. And not that I have to agree with everything that everyone says, but it just got me to thinking, really, like right now, but have always been one to think about, who do I want to influence the lives of my children, of my two daughters? Do I want them to look out into the world and say, hey, that's the standard of beauty, that's the standard of intelligence, that's the standard of athleticism, or whatever the standard is, and have something outside of my home be that influence for them? Didn't want that to be the case. The Bible says, train up your child in the ways of the Lord, so that when they grow up, they will not depart from it. That starts with me, training them up in their path of education, training them up in the type of individual that will be helping and not hurting of their community, training them up in the ways that they can be a productive contributor of society is my responsibility, and not something that I'm going to leave to chance by some outside influence outside of my home. So, as I've been thinking about a lot of the things that's, in the media today, in the news today, it just got me to thinking of just how important it is for me as a dad, as a parent, to really be the role model in my girls' lives. And that's a big responsibility, big task. And as they get older and they move away from the nest, as their freedom, their reach increases, there's going to be other forces out there that are going to be competing with the standard that has been set in this household. And my faith is the standard that my wife and I have set is strong enough to withstand the negative things that may try to chip away at their armor. So it's a constant on my knees praying, and a constant building them up to be just confident young ladies in all that they do. That's my job. That's my responsibility. That's the role model that I have to be to them in order to help them have a healthy, strong foundation for the rest of their lives. So that's what was on my mind today. That's what I wanted to share with you. And as always, I just want to thank you for stopping by the channel, supporting the work that I'm doing here, and spreading it to others in your area of influence. So take care, be good, God bless, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.